What's going on, everyone? So, there's a lot of questions circling around Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. Pat Riley himself said that he has no intentions or plans to trade Jimmy Butler this summer, but things change, and we have seen a lot of executives and a lot of presidents and owners and all kinds of stuff say that they weren't going to trade this person and then all of a sudden end up trading him. Also, they need to kind of work out an extension with Jimmy Butler. And it's also possible Jimmy just says, hey, I don't want to be extended, right? There was, the comments that Jimmy Butler said about the series. And then Pat Riley was like, hey, if you're not playing, basically shut it type thing. And it's kind of caused this stir. And there have been reports that are like, hey, even though Pat Riley said this, it's believed that they are at least going to explore it. And that they're kind of leaning towards like, hey, we're not going to extend him. We're going to look to trade him. Philadelphia is a team that has been linked heavily to Jimmy Butler because they regret ever getting rid of him and are willing to give him a full max extension. So we'll see. Time will tell. But something that I saw was this, and it's a trade to the Lakers. Now, before we jump into this, I just want to say that this is strictly just fun exploration. I just want to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. I don't believe for a second that this would happen. I don't even necessarily want it to happen. I'll get into the pros and cons. We'll talk about it. Just a fun conversation video. So don't take it too serious. Don't get crazy. Again, it's the off season. Not much going on. Let's enjoy it. Let's have some fun. So the trade. Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Jalen Hood-Schifino, 2029 first-round pick, 2030 first-round pick to the Miami Heat for Jimmy Butler and Thomas Bryant. Now, this trade on the surface, I'm not going to lie, I don't like it. I personally would not give up everything like this for Jimmy Butler. And look, Jimmy Butler on the Lakers, I would love to have. But it would have to be for a kind of a steal, in my opinion. Look, Jimmy Butler is an excellent player, right? I think Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis would be absolutely tough. But Jimmy Butler is 34 years old. Now, he does kind of fit this LeBron timeline. So, you could kind of basically extend him kind of right out with LeBron. You might have a year or two where it's just Jimmy and Anthony Davis. Look, think of all the things that Jimmy's done. Playoff Jimmy is absolutely spectacular. There is a lot of arguments and reasons for why Jimmy Butler on the Lakers makes a lot of sense. And not just that, it kind of keep him away. Like the Warriors are expected to potentially try to look to trade for Jimmy Butler, that they want to throw their hat in the Jimmy Butler ring. That was a recent report that came out by, I believe it was CBS Sports. So if you can keep him from a team like Golden State or keep him from another Western Conference team, that would be great. Jimmy Butler kind of provides everything that you need as far as like perimeter defense, gives you the other star, guy that can just take over. I love his mentality. I love his toughness. I love me some Jimmy Butler. His versatility, he can basically play 2 through 4 if you need him to. He can defend basically 1 through 5 in some instances. There is a lot to like about Jimmy Butler. But, again, his age is a big concern. 2, his fit, and his lack thereof shooting. Although, I will say, this season, he shot 41.4% from 3. Although 2.4 attempts per game. He had a field goal percentage of 50%, 49.9. He's usually around 49 to 50% the last few years, particularly, in the mid-range, especially that little like elbow that he loves to shoot and get off. He's a guy that, though, couple big things. One is the amount of games played. He has basically played since 2018. He played 65 games in 2018, 55, 58, 52, 57, 64, and 60. That's not great. That doesn't bode well. The last time he played 70 plus games was in 2016-2017 with Chicago, in which he played 76 games, started 75 of those games, and since then, it's been what I've talked about. Now, he does play a heavy amount of minutes. He's always been kind of the guy or one of the top guys. So, the burden, the workload, all of that. Another big concern is also just him not kind of taking the regular season serious. That's been a kind of a big question mark with him, right? Like playoff Jimmy is this real thing, and as much as Jimmy Butler likes to say like playoff Jimmy isn't real, it clearly is. His playoff numbers compared to his regular season numbers are nearly night and day. Like he's a good player in the regular season, but he is not anywhere close to what the playoff Jimmy numbers are. He also, can kind of just be uninterested in the regular season. And I get it. Once you get to a certain age, you're just like, all right, can we just get through this regular season and get to the playoffs? He's just trying to be healthy. He's just trying to get to the playoffs. So you have a lot of concerns, right? His seriousness, his availability, can he not be hurt, especially during the playoffs? He's only getting older, his age. There's a lot of things that are kind of like, ugh. And that's not even counting his attitude and personality. Again, I am somebody that's a fan of it. There was even a report that came out, like literally, I think it might have been yesterday or the day before, where, he was basically calling out the Bulls head coach and calling him soft, right? And, who's, I think it was like Fred Holmberg or something like that. But nonetheless, right? Like it's one of those things where you need a particular version of players around him. You need a specific, like he fits and embodies that Heat culture, like that Pat Riley, that a-hole that he can be, right? Like Jimmy Butler is that in many ways. So I like that attitude, but how does he mesh with LeBron, Anthony Davis, and the other guys is a real question, right? Chemistry is a real thing. But again, if you told me you could get Jimmy Butler, for, a first and whatever, Rui and a couple things, like sure. The other thing is too, he's making almost $50 million. Right? He's making 48, almost 49 million, 48.7 million. So you'd have to trade Rui. You need D'Lo to opt in. You basically be Rui, D'Lo, and like Gabe Vincent at best. Maybe you could keep Austin Reeves in that regard, but they would want Austin Reeves. Basically, if you told me you could unload players and get to the salary and just have to give up like a first or something, then I wouldn't be against it. But I'm not a fan of that regard. Now, look, on the positive side, Jimmy Butler is a guy that you can count on come posting. Again, assuming he's healthy. He'd fit LeBron's timeline. He's a guy that you can absolutely count on, especially come the postseason. He's a guy that would, essentially be your third option, right? But the thing that I love most about Jimmy Butler is he doesn't care, right? Like, he's one of the few stars that is totally okay with just doing the dirty work, right? Like, he doesn't care whether he scores 5 or he scores 50. He just wants to win, right? And that is something that would go a long way with being the, like, third guy, kind of, right? Because you have LeBron, you have AD. Those two guys, they're special talents, and they're going to be your top two guys. And there's a lot of talk and questions about, the Lakers trying to get that third guy to pair with those two. But the big question is fit, right? You need fit around those two guys. A guy like Trae Young, talked about my concerns with Trae, but on paper, on the surface, it's like, okay, he makes a world of sense, and he's a guy that, would make things a lot easier for Anthony Davis. But how does he fit alongside LeBron James is a real concern, is a real question. And, he's so on ball, so ball dominant, so high usage. It's kind of like, can you adjust enough to where it can work? But Jimmy Butler, like he doesn't need the ball. He doesn't care to have the ball. Like if you're like, hey, we just need you to lock down, sacrifice your body, do the dirty work, rebound, defend the best player, and just give us like 15 a game. Sure, no problem. Right? Because that is something that I really love. Him and Bam Adebayo. That's why, not at the detriment of the Lakers, but Miami's a team that, like, I really want to see what they could do if they got, like a Donovan Mitchell or something. Because, Miami's just special in that sense of, like, their two stars are totally okay with just being dirty work guys. Right? And there's very few stars in this league that are willing to do that. And that's what I think would make it so special with Jimmy, is like he could just kind of focus on the dirty work, which he loves. Right? He loves just, again, being that a-hole, getting into people's chests, getting into people's heads, right? Talking that talk. He could do that all game long. I think he'd be a lot of fun. I think he'd take pressure off of LeBron. He'd take pressure off Anthony Davis. You have a guy in Anthony Davis that, talk about the defense with him. Again, you could slot him at the 2 if you wanted to, right? And have him like with Jared Vanderbilt and Anthony Davis at times, like, whew, good luck, right? Like that, just hounding and just tenacity of those 3, right? Like I would, again, if you told me you could get him for the right price, I absolutely would be game for it. I'd absolutely be like, sure, sign me up for some Jimmy Butler. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is just for fun. One, I would be incredibly shocked that if Pat Riley traded him to the Lakers. I think Pat Riley would take half of what the Lakers would be willing to offer just to not have to trade him to the Lakers. Because, LeBron and all that stuff. So I think he's one of the guys that is least likely, even if he was available. And I also think that there are some teams that could outbid us that actually would make a push for him. Like I could definitely see, again, Philly. I could definitely see Golden State. Like I think he does make a lot of sense for Golden State. Right? There's several teams that I look at. Like I don't even think he. You don't want to scare the young guys away, but I think even like Jimmy Butler would be a good vet for like OKC and stuff like. But I don't know. It's one of those things where I would be. There's very few things that shock me in the NBA. This would be one of those things that I'm like, wow, did not see that coming at all, right? Because it's just, again, with Pat Riley and everything, it's one of those things where I would be hard pressed to see that. But I do think if Jimmy Butler does become available, I definitely think there's going to be several teams that throw their hat in the ring. He could make sense for teams like the Knicks. You could just move OG to the 4, right? Or put, like I said, Jimmy at the 2. I think Knicks, he makes some sense for the Knicks. I think he makes sense for, Sixers. Brooklyn can maybe throw their hat in the ring. I think there's several teams that would be very interested in getting Golden State, right? Would they give up Kuminga, right? Because you probably have to give up Kuminga. But again, I ultimately boil down to like how many teams would be willing to trade for a 34-year-old Jimmy Butler. Like if he was 30, sure, but like 34 and that, so he's got 2 years. He wants 2 more. You're talking he'd be 38 by the time his contract's up. What does he look like? He's already dealing with injury issues. Like I mentioned earlier, the lack of seriousness at times it feels like when you're talking the regular season, him only playing like 55 games a year. Like he's not a guy that you can rely on too heavily. It's one of the reasons why Miami's, usually a 6th through 8th seed, because Jimmy, is only playing 50 games a season. Where if he was playing, and I get like, he made it to the finals as a play-in team and stuff like that, but it's just like, how long can that last? How long can you continue to do that before it kind of blows up in your face type thing? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Again, just fun video. We're in the off season, not even officially the off season. We're getting ready for the NBA finals, right? I saw this. I was like, let's talk about it, right? Like, why not? Let's just have some fun. Sometimes it's okay. This is YouTube, right? It's entertainment, conversation, and fun. So let's do it. Let's explore some things a little bit. So again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions, however you feel. Explore with me a little bit. Let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.